What's up, guys? We are back for NCAA Basketball Championship Sunday here on March 17th. We ended up going 4-4 yesterday. We overcame a very slow start. We had some tough losses, though. We were wrong by only half a point on Auburn. That South Florida game, UAB just played absolutely insane. Texas A&M collapsed in the second half. They went into halftime up by 8 and then ended up losing that game. Illinois came through for us. Temple plus 12 was an outright win for Temple. Iowa State plus 5.5 was a blowout outright win. San Diego State fell apart late to lose that game. That was a little bit disappointing. In Western Kentucky pretty much controlled things the whole way to bring us home 4-4 on the day. Hey, if that's going to be one of our bad days where we just go 500, that's not too bad at all. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button if you want to see our picks every day and subscribe to the channel. Look at this. Almost 80% of viewers aren't subscribed. It's 100% free and can keep you from missing these picks. These videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and join our free email list and check out our top confidence plays on all the major sports. Comment below with your bets today and anything else you want to say about these picks, these videos, or anything you see here. I respond to every single comment and I'll give you my best advice on your picks to help us cash some bets. Now let's dive into our first game of the day, Brown versus Yale in the Ivy League Championship. Brown comes into this game clearly playing their best ball of the season. Nobody thought we were going to see the Brown Bears here in the Ivy League Championship game, but they have been surprising everyone. They just beat Princeton by 9 points to make it to this game. Before that, they actually beat Yale in the regular season to end things off, 84-81, a very impressive win. Brown has won 7 games in a row coming into this one. They're clearly they found their form. I don't know what happened, guys. This team has just been lights out. They've been rebounding the ball well. Against Princeton, we saw them play great. They scored 90 points, which is much better than this team would do on a normal basis throughout the regular season. They shot the ball relatively well from 3, but nothing absolutely insane. They got to the free throw line, but didn't have a huge advantage. Their rebounding really has just improved so much. They out-rebounded Princeton 41-32. That's a huge edge there that made all the difference in the game. We saw Lilly Jr. score 27 points. He shot the ball pretty well, 9 for 15 from the field in general, only 3 of 7 for 3 and 6 of 8 from the free throw line. So it's not like he was really shooting the lights out. He just made a lot of his shots and played really well. Up and down the roster, this team looks very good. Their bench played well in that game, and they have just been playing their best ball of the season at the perfect time. They've got a chance to make the NCAA tournament here. You know they're going to be maybe a little bit nervous to start the game off, but man, they have just been playing great. They should have a lot of confidence because they did just take down Yale not very long ago. It's only a couple days ago when they won in this matchup, and in that game they were playing at Yale. This will obviously be on a neutral court since it's a tournament game. Very, very impressive game overall from this team. They've just come alive. They've beaten all the best teams in the conference. They beat Cornell when they were in the midst of this streak. If you've taken down Princeton, Cornell, and Yale, you have had a hell of a streak in the Ivy League, and you're clearly playing great. Yale comes into this game fresh off of a win over Cornell. It was a convincing 12-point win. Nothing too bad there. They played really well. Yale's been one of the best teams in the Ivy League all season long. They finished with an 11-3 conference record. They have a solid leading scorer in Danny Wolf. They did lose in overtime against Brown only a couple days ago, but I don't really know if that's going to shake Yale's confidence too much. They've been eyeing this conference tournament all season long. In the win over Cornell, we saw 4 of their starters scoring double figures. Their bench, though, looked pretty bad. Their bench just did not produce. They didn't shoot the ball particularly well. They only totaled 8 points off the bench in that win over Cornell. Yale did win the battle of the boards in that game pretty convincingly, and they're going to have their hands full trying to rebound against Brown, who's been crashing the boards so aggressively lately. Yale definitely has some players in kind of bounce back spots. They didn't shoot the ball extremely well. At least the starters did not shoot the ball extremely well from 3, with the exception of Mahoney, who went 5 of 9 from deep in that win over Cornell. This season in general, Yale's been a solid team, but their numbers don't exactly jump off the page at you. Overall, in this matchup, we've seen it be very close very recently. I think Brown and the points is definitely the value side in this one. They're going to keep this game close. They're going to crash the boards hard. Both of these teams have solid against the spread trends over the course of this season. I'm taking the points with Brown in this one. I'm playing the hot hand. They've been the best team in the Ivy League over the last few weeks, and I think they find a way to at least keep this game very, very close. If you wanted to sprinkle the money line, I wouldn't blame you there. Next up, we're looking at the A10 championship game between Duquesne and VCU. Duquesne comes into this game winners of their last 7 in a row. Their last time out, they took down SBU. They beat Dayton, number 24 Dayton, in this little run they've been going on. Duquesne has just been coming alive at the perfect time. They're kind of the Brown of the A10. Day-Day Grant has been a monster all season long against SBU. We saw him absolutely erupt, going off for 27 points, shooting the ball extremely well just in general. The Dukes shot 47% from 3 in that game. They only got to the line 7 times. It wasn't a game that had very many free throws in it. They won despite going basically even on the boards. They're going to have to crash the boards a little bit harder against a team like VCU. The bench did not have amazing production their last time out for the Dukes, and you have to wonder how many minutes they're going to see and how well they're going to play in general going against VCU. This squad has been very good recently, but they haven't really had season-long success, finishing things up with only a 10-8 conference record in the A10. But like I said, they've been playing their best ball at the right time. They're streaking here. During that streak, they won by 10 points at VCU. That's a very impressive win, but not as impressive as that win over Dayton was. That was a stunner for everyone, especially Dayton. Jimmy Clark is a very solid point guard option for this team. He's putting up 15 per game and almost 4 assists, and he's shooting over 40% from the field. They're going to be ready to take on a team that they've beaten very recently. VCU comes into this game winners of 3 in a row. They've actually had a very easy run here to the championship game. They beat Fordham, UMass, and St. Joe's. None of those games really impressed me too much. Obviously, those are wins that you would think VCU should be very confident in. They have won by relatively solid margins, but they only won against Joe's by 6 points. That's nothing too special. This team hasn't been an elite rebounding squad. They're good on defense, though, but their offensive production is not great. Max Shugla is their leading scorer. He had to go off for 25 points to get them that 6-point win over St. Joe's. VCU was actually trailing at halftime in that game. They had to really pull things together, buckle down. Their bench played pretty well in that one. How much can we really trust this VCU team? They have been really good against the spread this season, going 20, 12, and 2 overall. But with Duquesne winning so recently in this match, and they're getting 2 points in this one, give me the Dukes in this game. I don't know, man. This is a tough one. It's Championship Sunday, so you know all these teams are going to be playing relatively well coming into this game. But with VCU having had such an easy trip to make it to this championship game, I think Duquesne is going to really surprise them, come out and get this win. You can give me Duquesne +2, or you can sprinkle that money line. Either one you want, I think it's a good bet. Next up, we're looking at Florida taking on number 12 Auburn. This is in the SEC Championship game. Florida comes into this one fresh off of a 5-point win over Texas A&M. That was a hard-fought game. Florida came back from being down by 18 points to end up winning the game by 5 in a very high-scoring affair. The Gators absolutely shot the lights out in that win. They shot 53.8% from three-point range, 12 of 26 overall. We saw Aberdeen make 4 of 5 three-pointers and score 20 points coming off the bench. He was the hot hand. He was their leading scorer, and he came off the pine. That's pretty wild. We saw Clayton Jr. shoot 50% from 3. We saw Richard make 9 of 4 from deep. Just in general, all these team shooters, they were knocking down their shots. Florida got out-rebounded pretty hard, which is something of a concern going up against an Auburn team that can crash the glass. But in general, Florida this year has been an elite rebounding team, and they didn't get that many chances for offensive rebounds in that game because they were just making everything they threw up there. Auburn comes into this game. They've been playing great. They've won 5 in a row. They just took down Mississippi State. Before that, they absolutely manhandled South Carolina, number 15 South Carolina. Auburn's been a tough team to figure out this season a little bit. They've been so much better at home than they've been on the road, but here in tournament play, they've looked very, very good. Johnny Broome is an absolute monster, shooting well over 50% from the field and leading this team in scoring. Against Mississippi State, we saw him score only 10 points. It was kind of a lower scoring game than you would expect. We saw 4 Auburn starters scoring double digits and 5 players overall. Their bench played plenty of minutes and was very productive. Having some depth this time of year can be super helpful because these teams are going to be a little bit gassed at the end of the conference tournament where they've been playing games on back-to-back days. This is a tough one, guys, but we're going to take Auburn -5.5 in this one. This is a big revenge spot as they got blown out against Florida playing in Florida back in the middle of the season. Maybe this is a tough matchup for Auburn and I'm stepping in it here, but 5.5 points doesn't seem like a ton in a game that's going to be very high scoring. I think the Gators are going to be a little bit tired in this game. I give Auburn the edge. They're 20-13 against the spread over the course of the season. Hopefully they don't let us down here. Give me the Tigers -5.5. Next up, we're heading to the American Conference. We're looking at the Temple Owls going up against the UAB Blazers in their conference tournament championship game. Temple has been one of the biggest shockers here in tournament season. They've won 5 in a row, and they've made it to this final thanks to knocking off teams like SMU, Charlotte, and FAU. That 1-point win over FAU is pretty crazy. We did have Temple in the points in that one, so that felt pretty good. The Owls have come down the stretch here playing their best ball of the season, and it's not been particularly close. They've really turned a corner after getting absolutely destroyed by UAB, but that was in the Blazers' bounce back spot after that debacle against Memphis. In the win over FAU, we saw Temple play great. They came back from being down by 8 at halftime to win the game by 1 point. We saw Miller go nuts, scoring 21 points, shooting 50% from the field overall and 50% from 3. Riley was dominant on the boards and scored 16 points. Their bench chipped in 16 points, and the Temple Owls shot 50% from 3. while playing great defense and denying the Florida Atlantic Owls their ability to knock down long-range shots. UAB comes into this game fresh off of a stellar win over USF. The Blazers are a super talented team. They've been hard to figure out all season long, so you never know if they're going to play up to the level of their competition or down to the level of competition or what they're really going to do on a nightly basis. They shot the ball very well from three in that win. They had 2 starters score over 20 points. Their bench chipped in 21 points, which is crazy. 16 of those points were scored by Vasquez, who went 7 of 13 from the field in general. UAB jumped out to a halftime lead, and it felt like they never gave it up. They were just choking out South Florida. They won in a very high-scoring game, 93-83, against a team that's known for playing great defense. This will really be a test for UAB to see how they're going to do, if they're going to play down to the level of tempo, if they're going to play with their food a little bit. It's hard to tell what they're going to do on a night-to-night basis. This isn't a pick that I consider a super lock, but we're going to take the points again. Give me Temple plus 7.5 in this one. I think they find a way to keep this game close. I think we'll see UAB take their foot off the gas. They probably feel like they already have this thing sewn up after taking down South Florida, which probably felt like the championship game to them. And they definitely expected to have to take on FAU in this game, and now they're in a little bit of a letdown spot going against a team they probably consider to be not really up to their same level. In the last game of the night, we're looking at the Big Ten championship game between Wisconsin and number 13 Illinois. Wisconsin has come alive at the right time. They've been killing it lately. They won against Maryland, Northwestern, and then got the 1-point win over Purdue in overtime. What an absolute crazy game. Amazing to watch. We saw Storr go off for 20 points. We saw Hepburn go off for 22 points. The Badgers bench didn't really do too much in general. They did play a lot of minutes, so their inability to score is pretty concerning. Are they going to be able to score here against Illinois, a team that's very good on the defensive end? We saw Wisconsin get the win despite shooting only 5 of 9 from the free throw line. Only getting there 9 times is pretty crazy, especially when your opponent shot a staggering 32 free throws. Purdue was just marching the line all night. Wisconsin only shot 7 of 32 from 3. That's not a great percentage. Shooting 21% from the three-point line isn't usually going to get the job done for you, but it did this time. Eddie scored a ton of points. He went to the free throw line 19 times. He scored 28 points, going only 7 of 11 from the field in general. He did have 11 rebounds, so he was helping them dominate on the boards, and they did win the rebounding battle 46-32. So Wisconsin only having 32 rebounds in that game, that's a concern going against Illinois, a team that can really crash the glass. Wisconsin in general this season has been very up and down. They started things off hot, then they had a big lull in the middle of the season where it felt like they just couldn't win a game, and now they're closing things out playing great. Illinois comes into this one fresh off of a solid win over Nebraska. Illinois has won 6 of their last 7 coming into this game, including a solid 8-point road win over Wisconsin back on March 2nd. In their win over Nebraska, we saw Terrence Shannon Jr. go off for 40 points. Absolutely crazy to see somebody dropping a 40-point performance in college basketball. Illinois had to make a big comeback. They were down by 11 points at halftime, and then they won the second half 58-36. That's pretty incredible. You don't see massive turnarounds like that too often. The Illini won thanks in large part to shooting 13 of 35 from three-point line. They made 13 threes in the game. That's pretty great. They managed to get to the free throw line. They scored 20 points from there. They dominated the boards in this game, which is something we kind of expected them to do, and they're going to need to repeat this performance to take down Wisconsin. I think Illinois has a significant edge on the boards in this game. They have confidence in having won in this matchup earlier in the season. Illinois is 17-13 and 3 against the spread overall, so that's a pretty solid mark, and they're going to have the best player on the court in this game in Terrence Shannon Jr. And let's not forget Marcus Domask. I think he's going to be very key in getting this win for Illinois as well. Give me Illinois -3 as our last pick of the day in this one. That's all the games we've got here on Championship Sunday. Hit that like button for good luck on all your bets today, and subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more NCAA basketball action.